All right, now, Trump and Kevin Warsh, in very different ways, are both promoting really good news. And that's the subject of the riff. Okay. Now, one of the most telling statements from President Trump at this week's G7 meeting was how worried he was about a potential economic catastrophe related to the Iran war and the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. And equally telling, the president referred to the stock market as a key barometer of the economy. This is very similar to over a year ago when he modified his original Liberation Day tariff schedules because the stock market tanked badly after his speech. So he made adjustments. And I can tell you with my own experience, when I worked at the NEC in the first term, however many hundred times I was in the Oval, he always asked about the stock market when he saw me coming in. It's an interesting point of view. It's kind of an old-fashioned point of view because business and financial economists used to use the stock market as a key barometer of the economy. Now, leftists hate this. And unfortunately, today's Wall Street is heavily populated by leftists, particularly the economists. Not all of them, but most of them. So anyway, the president didn't want to be remembered as Herbert Hoover. And here's exactly what he did say on Wednesday in France. Take a listen.
So the one thing I didn't want to see is I didn't want to see economic catastrophe. If you kept this going, that could have happened. But all I know is every time we talked about the possibility of peace, the stock market shot up like a rocket ship. It never went down. They didn't like it. The people, you know, the stock market is more brilliant than anybody there is, including the people on the stage, other than me, of course. Rather than possibly going into a depression, rather than having your favorite president be Herbert Hoover, that was always the one I didn't want to be.
All right. That's very important. I think it's very telling, and I think it's very instructive about his thinking. Now, I'm going to get to Kevin Warsh's masterful maiden voyage in just a moment. But I want to add from Mr. Trump's Truth Social post earlier this morning. It's worth listening to. Quote, oil is flowing. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. The world will be safe. The stock markets are roaring. Jobs are at records. And prices are dropping. Affordability. Our country is strong, safe, and respected like never before. You're welcome. All right. So now, Kevin Warsh made clear in yesterday's presser that strong economic growth and low inflation, meaning stable prices, and low unemployment can all exist together. He basically told us that models developed over 50 years or more ago should not be used in today's ultra-high-tech, faster than the speed of light economy. It's a very important policy statement and an enormous big breath of fresh air. Meanwhile, reports are coming in that oil is already flowing through the Strait of Hormuz faster than almost anybody thought possible. And at 75 bucks and change, WT oil today is right where it was a year ago, 75 bucks. But a year ago, gasoline was $3.18. That's a good forecast for what may happen. Right now, it's $3.99, according to AAA nationwide. 318, by the way, awful good number for the GOP midterm outlook. But Mr. Warsh was very clear that he is leaning towards restoring what he calls price stability. The Fed, under Jay Powell, hadn't hit its 2% inflation target in 5 years. Warsh wants to correct this. But I think it's doubtful that he's going to start raising the Fed's target rate. Why? Because that'd be looking backward at the lagging story of spiking oil. But that story has obviously completely reversed. Don't base policy on last year's story. Try to look ahead. This, too, is a key Warsh theme. And by the way, he watches commodities, which in general are falling. Energy, gold, silver, corn, wheat, etc., all falling. And as I noted yesterday, under Kevin Warsh, good news can once again be good news. His goal is to get markets to react to the actual data news, not what some flyover regional bank president says. That's why forward guidance is gradually going to go away. You know, it's really good news. Mr. Trump has decimated Iran's nuclear and military capabilities. They are on their knees. And that has allowed him to try and pull together a deal that includes reopening Hormuz. And that's going to allow Mr. Kevin Warsh the latitude for even more good news, both on falling inflation and rising prosperity. Just think of it. And that's the riff. All right.